big thing is just I think the markets have been trying to adapt, number one, to the new economic data coming out of China about the issues in the Chinese economy. And then the other thing is American companies, and you guys have covered this extensively, global currencies have really moved against American multinationals just in the last 6 months. And I think, frankly, I think Wall Street was slow to adapt to the reality now that the dollar is much stronger versus all the other currencies. When a big company comes and says we missed our numbers because of currency changes, the presumption from investors is it's an excuse. In the last 6 months, a lot of that has actually been true. And so I think people are adjusting to this new currency world. I think, though, the currency shift is reflective. The U.S. is doing really well. There are issues in many other countries in the rest of the world, but the U.S. is doing really well. And I think from a U.S. standpoint, things are going pretty well.
So Bill Gurley is warning startups to prioritize profitability over growth. Mark Benioff told me earlier this week he thinks there's going to be a lot of dead unicorns ahead. How do you think the shakeout looks when it comes to private tech? What does it look like on your side of the equation?
Well, look, so these are, as I would say, that I think situation normal. These are startups. Some of them are going to work really well. Some of them are going to not work at all. In some environments, it's easier to raise money. It makes sense to prepare for environments in which it's not as easy to raise money. To me, that doesn't, though, translate into a call for everybody to panic. I think each company should figure out its own strategy and execute its own strategy, and that's what we work with our companies to do.
So, last question: if the headline on Sequoia's slide deck in 2008 is "R.I.P. Good Times," what does Andreessen Horowitz say right now?
Well, that's reflective. Sequoia is an extremely smart firm, but that's reflective, which is 2008 was not R.I.P. Good Times, and so our general attitude, I don't know if we have a headline, but it's be measured, be cautious, be careful, but also invest in growth. And when we have companies that are growing fast, we don't tell them to pull back because the stock market blips. In fact, if anything, we tell them to push forward and go take down the market. And so for the companies that are doing well, I think they're going to do really well.
You're big on founder CEOs. What do you think should happen at Twitter?
So I'm reflexively in favor of founders running these companies whenever possible. And so I think if Jack or Ev or some combination of the two ended up in back in leadership at Twitter, I think that'd be great.